Yo, welcome back to another video, guys. Now we have something new here. We have another Cleave sort of guide, I want to say. But this one's more updated since the other one was a little bit outdated since that was before Abyssal Yufine's release, and Abyssal Yufine kind of killed Cleave underneath the ground. Like Landy, put it in a coffin, and then Abyssal Yufine put it 6 feet under. So that's pretty much the state of Cleave right now. There are a few teams that are doing okay, but really Cleave is just still not that strong, and it hasn't been strong for a while. But we have some new tools we can use now in our comps. We can use stuff like Ludwig since he's coming out, Famir, stuff like those units. Oh, and Blooming Lidica as well next season. But yeah, as you can see, the priorities kind of shuffled around. And let me preface this video by saying this is for I want to say champion plus, more really emperor plus, but you can get away with lower gear requirements in champion. But yeah, the thing is, for Cleave, obviously the gear requirements are insane, right? So just keep that in mind when you decide to Cleave. Now we're gonna talk about the first unit on this list, and that is Faithless Lidica. Now, Faithless Lidica right now is probably tied for the best Cleave unit in the game along with Zeo. And the reason for that is it used to be Zeo Ran, but the problem with Zeo Ran is it loses completely to 3 units: Navy Captain Landy, Abyssal Yufine, and Bellion. Now you can only have 2 pre-bans, right? So 2 of those are gone, but then they just picked the 3rd one, and then your entire, I guess, draft is warped from that one unit. So Bellion, obviously she shuts down souls, so your Ran is literally useless if you let Bellion through. Ran relies a lot on CR cuts, right, to push up the team, and obviously Abyssal Yufine shuts that down, and she can also counterattack too. And Navy Captain Landy, obviously we already know what she does. If she salvos once, your entire team explodes. So Zeo Ran has been going down in the meta, but in place of that, Flidica has been going up in the meta. Because with Flitty Cleave, all you have to do, I'll do a sample draft. You just have to pre-ban these 2, right? You pre-ban these 2, and then you leave the Bellion open because Flidica Cleave doesn't care about Bellion. And then you go a typical Flitty draft, Cleave draft. This is Potato Ball / Eye-worthy Cleave. You just go Flitty, Veronica, Sid, and Famir here. And then you can go an Anchor last, or you can go a Flex Picks last. Maybe it's usually something like C Pavel sometimes. It could be an Anchor, it could be Politis, it could be Astromancer, right? This is a typical meta Cleave team right now that's being used in Emperor Plus. Now, I won't really go into the details of why this team is so strong. I'll just make that for another video. But yeah, this is a typical really strong Cleave team at the moment. These 2 are on Guiding Light. It's DPS Sid, and then the rest of the builds are self-explanatory. And I'll put this back. Yeah, so that's the Flitty team that you can go. Now we're gonna talk about Zeo Ran again. So for Zeo Ran, I already mentioned this before, but you kind of just have to take your chances and ban 2 of the 3, and then hope that you don't get RNG too hard, or they don't pick it. Usually I go Navy Captain plus Abyssal Yufine bans because it's easier for me to deal with them or harder for me to deal with them than Bellion. But realistically, you want all 3 of these banned, so you just have to see what units you're able to counter the hardest out of these 3, and then just leave that one open. Now obviously a Zeo Ran draft is usually something like this. You have Ludwig now, which is really good. You can go something like Summertime here. You can go like an anchor as well with Aiden. Something like this is pretty good. You can also pick Politis here, right? This stops all CR gains, so your Ran can push up these units easier. Something like this is really, really good. Not even summertime, it could be like Requiem Rana here. You know, there's a lot. Ran Cleave is definitely the most flexible Cleave team, which is good. And yeah, that is Zeo Ran. Again, I won't really go into the specifics of how the team works. I'll just answer questions, or you can join my Discord server and then I can explain it more in depth there. Now, the other sort of meta Cleave team, so there's 3 of them, right? So we went over Flitty, we went over Zeo Ran. Now we're gonna talk about Ahmed. Ahmed Cleave is still pretty good. It's just kind of hard to pull off. So in this case, Ahmed Cleave, your pre-bans are completely different. Your pre-bans are going to be Moon Bunny and then Abyssal Yufine. And you leave Bellion and Navy Captain Landy open because with Ahmed, if you do an Ahmed team, right? What that lets you do, so let's put the pre-bans here. What that lets you do is, obviously your opponent's going to take Landy and your opponent's going to take Bellion to their souls. But Ahmed's Cleave team, you don't really need souls because you can pair Ahmed with stuff like Kisei, that doesn't care about Bellion. You can pair Ahmed with ML Ken. ML Ken doesn't care about Landy, right? A full DPS ML Ken can one-tap Landy. So if they take Landy, you just take ML Ken. You can end the draft with like a Flan here. You can pick a Kisei here as well. You can go like a Dark Corvus Anchor. Something like this is really, really strong still. If Zeo's open, obviously you can take Zeo as well right here too. This gives you access to Soul Burn in case they don't pick Bellion, and this also takes Zeo away from them. So they either die to Ahmed Kisei or they die to Flan Martial Artist Ken. Right? Obviously you still have to be careful for stuff like Politis. Politis is still really good into this team. But people aren't really picking Politis as an anti-cleave option anymore just because she's really easy to play against. But yeah. That is the Martial Artist Ken Ahmed Cleave team. I'll put these back. But yeah. As for the other units that are in here, these are just like the most flexible units. So you have Eternal Wanderer Ludwig, who's super, super good at the current moment. Obviously, if you want to use him, you have to pre-ban Bellion, right? You can't really use him otherwise. We have Commander Pavel. He's used in all of the non-Soul Cleave teams. So he's used in Flitty Cleave. He can sometimes be used in Ahmed Cleave if you pair it with Kisei. There's a lot. And then Flan's usually just pair with Ahmed most of the time. Just because it helps ensure the push-up and it helps you boost up another unit as well. And also, you can land defense breaks, which is always good. Briarwitch Iseria, now, this is more of a utility pick. Just because she shuts down a lot of anti-cleave options or stuff that Cleave doesn't like. So, for example, if you're Ran cleaving, you don't want to fight against green units like Rimuru or Destina or Senya, but Briarwitch kind of shuts those down. She also shuts down Savior Auden, which Cleave doesn't really enjoy fighting against a lot either. Right? She does well into Abyssal Yufine. Does okay into Landy. Obviously, if you don't get countered, then yeah. Astromancer is still really good, mainly for regular arena, but she has her usages in RTA too as a 4th, 5th pick, in case they go heavy counterattack, and she's always a 4-span. Which is good for you in case you want your first 4 units to get through a draft, since they're like, it's Cleave, so you want your main Cleave draft to go through. Wander Silk obviously is here just because I think she's still the best speed imprint along with Sid and Veronica, giving 14 speed and she's super flexible with Guideline. Her S2 is insane. Requiem Rwana is here as well just because even though she kind of got pushed out by Abyssal Yufine, she still has a lot of usage cases. Having that full reset is very, very nice. And you can pair Rowana with Blooming Lidica and Zeo now. So in case you ever fought a full immunity team, Blooming Lidica will just strip before Rowana gets to S3. So go Zeo S3, Blooming Lidica S2, strip all the buffs, and then Requiem Rowana can afterwards reset the team, right? So she's like kind of fell off, but I think Blooming Lilica will push her back up a little bit, and she's just really good still. She can 1v1 Karina. She's honestly good into tank teams because she has a defense break. Souls, right? Vildred, he's mainly like the other imprint that's really good, just because you pair him with Wander Silk. You don't need to bring Sash if you have Vildred. Wander S2 Vildred S1 into S3 or S2 is super strong as well. Yeah. Now second row, this is stuff that if you don't already have, you should try to aim for them. You don't need them, but they're not as important as the first row, but they're units that you should still try to go for. So here you have Summertime Izaria. This is still the best Rand follow-up. It does super well into Aiden, which Rand doesn't really like. It's good into ML Ken, right? Senya's, any green units. Still a really strong pair. And then no one really picks Ed and Designer anymore at the current moment just because they're pretty weak. And you can always Arya anchor that. Oh, speaking of anchor, I gotta put Arya there. Yeah. Now you'll see me like repeat a lot of stuff from the last Cleave guy video. Nothing hasn't really changed too much. But yeah. Ada's still really good with Ran as well. You have the soul burns on her to do a lot of damage, so if the entire team is defense breaking, then you can S2, S3, and then awesome, the whole team's dead. And then she can stun as well, right? Now her build has kind of changed. You want to build her with effectiveness and not as much damage, because utility Ada is way better than DPS Ada at the current moment, and she also needs to be really fast. Now Lua, in the last video, I said Lua wasn't really a Cleave unit, and I still agree with that. But she definitely has potential as a Cleave unit. Only with Song of Stars though. And if you already know what I'm talking about, Song of Stars Lua plus Alika is like still one of the cheesiest and best ways to get wins in higher rank, because no one expects Song of Stars Lua. But that's really the only reason. Speed buff is good for stuff like Blooming Lidica as well. So I guess she has her usage cases as well. My bad. Now Jacko. Thing about Jacko, I don't really like Jacko Cleave anymore, but she's still really good. Right now, I only use Jacko if I'm playing against an anti-Zeo team, and I first pick Zeo, right? So my Jacko's like 240 speed, so she won't get cut by anything. And then I can S2 the G-Perk, and then Jacko kills G-Perk, and then S1's the stealth unit. So that's my only usage for Jacko. And I think that's literally the only time I ever use Jacko, because I don't really like picking Jacko if I have better options available. Like, you can't pick her into takedown teams because she doesn't do enough damage. She loses to Karina. If I'm playing against takedown teams, I pick stuff like Summertime Izaria to get the bombs off. Or I pick stuff like Straze. Even Ilwig is better. But Jacko's like... she can kill one, and then that's kind of it. She's not good into... yeah, I already mentioned Karina. She's not good into Aiden. She's not good into Navy Captain, Abyssal Yufine. There's a lot of stuff that she doesn't really like enjoy fighting against. So I haven't really prioritized her as much, and I think you can get away with not picking Jacko anymore. Yeah. Pera, she's only here just as a backup to Rand. That's pretty much it. Zahak, still really good into the Aiden teams. He's good also into Abyssal Yufine, surprisingly, because you can pair Zahak with Briar or Straze, and Abyssal Yufine teams are really slow. So you can pair Zahak with a Straze and Briar and push them up, and then get the kills from there. Obviously, Injury is really good against tank teams, so I think Zahak's pretty good. Straze, Premier Tank Down Buster, he'll always be good in this tanky meta, so there's not a reason why you shouldn't go for him. He's just kind of hard to gear. Naquil, I was originally going to put it in priorities, But she's really more of an aggro unit than a cleave unit. And if you want to use her in cleave, you have to use her Elegia Candle, which is really hard to do if you're gonna make her like 300 plus speed. She's kind of like Flitica. But she has a lot more counters than Flitica. So, yep. And her synergy with cleave units isn't as good as Flitica's either. Summer Break Charlotte. Oh wait, I skipped Elika. Elika's still really good. You have the book. Not as good as she once was because of abyssal yufine. And teams are just really ridiculously tanky, so your Elika needs to be lower on the speed and higher on the damage if you want to use her. Summer Break Charlotte. I think this unit's like honestly fantastic. I love this unit so much. Pair with Zeo, pair with Ran, deals with 8 energies on Briggs artifact. Defense breaks are amazing. Can deal with Ed. Can deal with anti-Zeo teams if they use Auden. It's an amazing pick. The only reason why she's not in priorities is because she's not very strong into tank down teams. But yeah. Closer Charles, he has his usages as well. He's good into stuff like Moon Bunny teams or Bellion teams, or like any super slow team where you can pair Closer with Briar, Straze, Watcher, C. Pavel, something like that. If there's no speed lead, then Closer Charles is like undoubtedly one of the best cleave units he can pick, just because his value is insane, where he gives everyone CR push and attack buff, full attack buff on everyone, which is like that's crazy. Saren is here. She's like the worst speed imprint still, unfortunately, but she has 14 speed, so you should have her built still. Fire Shuri teaches another speed imprint, 14 speed with you just run Sash on him. One thing is do not, and I repeat, do not use Fire Shuri with Requiem Rowana, because you need to put Requiem Rowana in the back, which means Requiem Rowana is going to be getting that speed buff. So just be careful with that. Watcher Shuri, another speed imprint, 10 speed, nothing new. Slash user. ML Ken, he's really good into Landy. Celeste, another racer. She's just the easiest opener to pick against other cleavers, right? I pick Celeste all the time. Opsig is here as well because she's good into barrier teams. The damage is a bit lackluster, but it isn't too bad. Yufine is here, just off of a Zeo follow-up. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Kisei, Ahmed follow-up, all I need to say. Top model Luluka is hard to pick, but she's kind of similar to Closer Charles, where if she gets a turn off, if you have like cracked guarantee ML, she could work. Or she gives CR push and attack buff to everyone. The only problem is she uses a non-attack skill, so she has more counters than Closer Charles. LPK I think is just the worst Hawk in my opinion. Eligos, same thing. They both deal with evasion, but I'd rather just pick Zahak instead of these two. Because Zahak gives that insane S2 utility. Gala Lilius, she's okay as well. If they're going she's only good if they have one tank. As soon as they go double mitigation, you want to stop picking her. And with the prevalence of C Armin coming back, it's kind of hard to use her. Blooming Lidica, I think, is the same boat as Gala Lilius. Good if they have like one mitigator, and she's good against full immunity teams, but her damage really suffers if there's more than one mitigation. So BBK, the other Flan follow-up, the other Ahmed follow-up, really strong. Not much, you guys already know what she does. Ludwig, same as Kisei. Giselle, same as Kisei and Ludwig, yeah, again. Now Fumir's a new addition to this list. Fumir is she's part of the Flitty Veronica Sid Cleave team, where since you need green and red openers, she can activate off of them, and then she does obviously her defense break and all of her like unbuffable debuff thingy and all that stuff. So really good with the Flitty team. Acid is like not as good anymore, unfortunately. So yeah, sorry for Acid. I mean, this entire row you don't really need anymore because like she's outdated. Karik, he's obviously outdated. Gloomy you only pick Gloomy as an imprint if you're racing with Para, but you don't even pick Para that much anymore. Pavel, same as Karik. Alot's just too slow and relies too much on the S2 push-up to have value. That's really his only thing. He only has one ability. Crescent Moon Rin, I shouldn't have to explain this. Outdated, yeah. So now I'm just gonna quickly go over some of the logs that I made. That just goes over like all of the or some of the teams that I encountered. So let's switch over. Oh, that's my Melissa. Don't look at that. That is a trash unit right there. Anyways, I like boomed earlier, but yeah. So as you can see, this guy is doing the Flitty Veronica Cleave, right? It's so popular. But I just kind of outraced him. That's just a regular race. I think Potato Balls was the one that invented the Flitty Veronica Lumir thing. I don't think I fought against any other cleavers really. There's a couple Ahmed cleavers out there. There's still Zeoran cleavers like me. I guess in terms of accessibility, I think Zeoran is still the, I'd say, easiest form of cleave to go for because you don't need damage on Ran. You can just go like speed and that's it. And then since Ran has such insane base speed, you can just toss all your speed on him, and then as long as he can outspeed like C, Lilius, and Lua, his other stats don't really matter because he's the one that's gonna be activated for the other units. But for Ahmed and Flitica, you need like proper speed, right? Because their base speed's lower. So you need to be able to consistently contest the Liliuses and Luas with your Ahmed and Faithless Litica. So it's a lot harder to achieve that type of cleave. But yeah. I think this is sort of a shorter video. I thought this was gonna be a lot longer than. Wait, how long have I been recording? 22 minutes? Okay, that's not too bad. But yeah, if you guys have any questions on any of the drafts or potential usage cases for for Cleave, then just let me know and I will answer that. And besides that, see you guys.